We will start with the prayers. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshuh Shrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Punoshidam Maham Brahma Nirakuriyam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirate ete Upanishadsu dharmaste Mayi santo te Mayi santo Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Keno Upanishad consisting of 4 chapters. We have finished the first chapter and the first verse of the second chapter. Keno Upanishad consists of 34 mantras. I'll just give you a broad bird's eye view. The first 2 chapters contain the essence of Jnana Vidya or Brahma Vidya, the teaching of the Upanishad. That is 8 verses of chapter 1, 5 verses of chapter 2. The third chapter is a story which gives us some highlights about the importance of prana in this body. It comes out in 12 verses. The last chapter, number 4, is dealing with upasana. 4 types of upasanas are taught, and what is the other disciplines to be followed, like values to be followed to get this knowledge lighted up in our intellect. So the third and the fourth chapters are primarily meant for people who have not understood the teaching in the first 2 chapters. There are several students who have understood the first 2 chapters, which is Brahma Vidya, and then they leave. For others who need a little bit of preparation of the mind, chapter 3 and chapter 4, which is Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, is taught. So the total is 34 mantras, very beautiful Upanishad, giving out the essence of the teaching of all the Upanishads, and Shankara Bhashyam on this Upanishad is very profound. I would recommend that all of you, after this, read the notes of Shankara Bhashyam, which I have started preparing. I have already circulated the first volume. If you have studied the first volume, then you write to me, I will send you the second volume. The second volume is also ready, but you must go through the first volume, then you ask for the second volume. With that, we will go to the second chapter. What we have studied so far is that this Atma is something which cannot be known by the sense organs. The most essential teaching of this Upanishad, you must be very clear about it. Atma is not an object. If anything is an object, then it belongs to Bhautikam. It is Bhutavastu. It is made up of Pancha Bhutas. It comes under the purview of 3 gunas: Prakriti, Maya. So this is anything which is experienced is made up of Panchabhutas, made up of three gunas. It is a Shakti. It is a power which exists in this world. Beyond this Sagunam Brahma, which is this world, there is another expression of the same power, which is called as Nirgunam Brahma. Nirgunam means it is the spiritual essence. It is not Prakriti, but it is Purushaha. And there are two different realms of reality. Like you have the dream as one realm of reality. We all exist in the dream state, but it is a different realm of reality. Sleep state, it is a different realm of reality. Waking state is a different realm of reality. In these three realms, we have different distinctions. What the Upanishad is trying to introduce to us is there is a common adhishtanam, there is a substratum for all these three realms. That realm is called as Brahman. And the Upanishad is telling us, you are not the jiva with a body and a mind, but you are the consciousness principle, which is the adhishtanam, which is called as Brahman. You can call it by any name. You can call it Sakshi, you can call it Brahman, you can call it Paramatma. Different names are used in the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita for the same reality. But you should remember, these three realms of experiences do not exist by themselves. They have no independent existence. But Atma or Brahman or Sakshi or the Chit can exist independently without the other three realms. Knowing this entity, one becomes immortal. That is what is said in the fourth mantra of this chapter. 2. Let's go to second verse now. Naham manne suvedeti nona vedita vedacha yonas tat veda tat vedo nona vedeti vedacha. Keno Upanishad is a text, is a Upanishad which uses a lot of paradox, a twist in sentences to make things more clear. But people don't understand it because it is a little bit tricky. So in the second chapter, the first verse is a test given by the guru to the student. And the guru is asking, do you know Brahman or not? Do you know the reality or not, which I taught in the first chapter? To that, the student is answering here, I don't think I know it well. That's the first sentence. I don't think I know it well. Then immediately he says, not that I don't know. See, you have taught me, I know it. But it is something which is not in the realm of knowing. That is what he is meaning. What he's saying is, whoever understands that reality as something not known and something which is known, he alone comprehends this truth. See, it's a very beautiful way that student is trying to describe the undescribable. You can't describe that reality, that Adhishtanam Brahma by words. But still, in the language in which we all understand, the student is trying to say it is, he's saying it is in a similar language of what the teacher had used in the first chapter. Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is the ear of the ear. Chakshusha Chakshuhu. It is the eye of the eye. That means the power behind the eyes. It is not the eyes. It is the power by which the eyes become able to see the world. The three expressions of divine eye of intuition are, the first expression is, I don't think I don't know it well. You see, he's using two negatives. I don't think, I don't know. What is the implication of this? Implication is, I don't know. The second expression is, he looks within himself. When you look at the world, you can't know Brahman outside in the world. But when you look inside your mind, what happens? You think, yes, I think I know what the Upanishad is talking about. So when you look outside, you say, I don't know. Because the eyes cannot know Brahman, the intellect cannot know Brahman. Mind is not an instrument to know Brahman. But when you look inside you, there is consciousness, there is a Sakshi. Then the student says, not that I don't know, which I said 1 minute before, but I think when he uses not that I don't know, it is a sentence which implies what? It implies I know. And then the last part of the sentence is, with his own experience of the teaching, he claims that he knows. I know that. That is only an internal expression. It is only something which is every one of us can also say the same. See, what happens is, you must remember, Brahman is not an object, but it is the subject. All of us are aware that we are the subject I. And what is the object? Object is something perceived by the sense organs. Whether it is a mountain, a river, a building, a mobile, your hands, your legs, your body, all are perceived by the sense organs. Now, this perceptible world is objective. It is not the subject. What the Upanishad is trying to reveal is the subject. So the knowledge of awareness principle, the subjective principle, which cannot be expressed in words. What can words express? Words have the ability to express only what properties are there, what is the functions which the objects do. We have seen this before. What words can describe is whatever the sense organs perceive. This real nature of us is uniform to all of us. It is not that your consciousness is different than my consciousness. Therefore, the Veda says there is only one Chaitanyam which exists, and it is non-dual principle. It is not, there is not two Chaitanyas. So the awareness of a chair or a table or of the world is objective. We can express it in terms of the properties, the attributes. It's a blue flower. It's a white lily. It is a red rose. The impression of an object in the mind is formed through the sense organs, and then we can describe it. But what happens to the subject? Subject cannot be described because it is I myself. I, the consciousness, cannot be described in words. Who amongst us comprehends it both as not known and known? He alone comprehends this truth. That is the essence of this second verse. We use transitive verbs whenever we are using the sense organs or the mind or the intellect. Transitive verb means what? I eat a mango. I go to school. We can't say I see Brahman, like how you say I see a mango. You can't say I know Brahman because it is not an object. You can't say I experience Brahman because it is not an object. I am Brahman is the right way to say it. When you say I am Brahman, this is intransitive verb. For those who know grammar, this is just an expression of how grammatically this can be explained. Nona Veda Veda Cha. So what does he say? What does the student say? The student says, when the teacher asks him, do you know Brahman? What does he say? I have grasped the fact that Brahman cannot be grasped by the sense organs, but it can be claimed as myself. That is the teaching. That is what the student's reply is. A brilliant answer given by the student. That is why Keno Upanishad is a very, very profound Upanishad. See, generally we make a mistake of trying to identify something in our meditation. I want to see God. It is not, when you say I see God in my mind, it doesn't mean that that is the real God. You may have some exotic experiences of Shiva, of Vishnu, and so on because of your upasana. But what the Veda says is, the seer is Brahman, not the seen. That point we should catch in this entire Upanishad. Now we go to the third verse. So the the second chapter has 5 verses. The fourth verse is the most important. We'll see it today. Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na veda saha. Avijñātam vijñātam vijñātam avijñātam. See, everything is in a very paradoxical way. What does it mean? The one who understands Brahman, he does not comprehend Brahman. He doesn't comprehend Brahman means what? As an object. And he understands it not who he feels has comprehended. So when you say I am ignorant about Brahman, it's not ignorant. It's not, when the student is not ignorant about Brahman. So known and unknown can exist in the field of objects. There is no known and unknown when it comes to the subject. That is what is the meaning of this verse. Brahman is never known to a person who says Brahman is known to me as object of knowledge, because it happens to be the subject. The consciousness principle, the content of the words, the thoughts, is the knower. The content of the thoughts is the knower. The content of your words which you speak, the content that is the knower principle. That means inside our mind, there is a consciousness principle which is expressing in different forms as words, sounds, forms, colors. Whenever it expresses in different forms, it is conditioned truth. It is limited. The truth is unlimited. It is limitless. For example, the sun can illumine the whole universe. But can we say the sun is illuminating itself? No. It is its nature to illuminate. It is light itself. Similarly, consciousness is the light in which all the sense organs function. But to know consciousness, can we say consciousness knows itself? No, because that happens to be its nature. So the problem is of the ego in us. See, there is a ego factor, I factor in the body when it is in the waking state, when it is in the dream state, when it is in the sleep state. This ego claims that it is sleeping, it is waking up, and it is dreaming. But what the Upanishad says is, this ego I comes and goes in the light of consciousness. So drop the ego and claim the consciousness in which the whole world of three realms are coming and going. What are the three realms? Waking, dream, and sleep. What is beyond the three realms? The substratum. The substratum, without the substratum, there cannot be these three realms. Atma-jnanam is the cure for the ego disease. For example, all of us suffer. Whenever we suffer, we say, I am suffering. This I is the ego. And nobody knows how to get rid of this I. Because every time you wake up, you have this I. Only when you come to the Veda and study the Upanishads at a very great depth, like how we are doing it now. We are not just reading the verse meaning and going off, because verse meaning by itself will not reveal the truth of the Sakshi in you. We have to analyze it in this fashion. The self-effulgent supreme light creates the ego pool of reflection. That is why we say it is reflected consciousness. All our experiences are in reflected consciousness. Means what? Reflection is happening where? It is happening in the mind of a jiva. So what is a jiva essentially? Essentially, he is only consciousness. But today he doesn't know that. That is ignorance. So what happens is we melt the jiva bhava into the Ishvara bhava. First, to dissolve the ego. What do we say? This is a whole creation is nothing but Ishvara Srishti. By saying it is Ishvara Srishti, what am I doing? The Jiva Srishti is dissolved in the Ishvara Srishti. The separate experiencer ego, which we all experience, we pour it as a part of the world and we say this is Ishvara Srishti. The moment I perceive this I-ness, then what happens? I am not experiencing the state of Godhood. When I drop this I-ness in this body by saying everything in this world is happening according to the law of Ishvara. And I live. See, we are not stopping our living. Our living is what? I experience whatever is the law of nature as per prarabdha karma. The body is born. body will undergo certain problems. The body will undergo happiness also. It is a mixture of both happiness and sorrow. That is why you have a human body. If you have a Devata Shariram, you have experience of only happiness. So the moment the rope is recognized, the serpent is not there. What is the rope here? Rope is the Brahman. Rope is the Adhishthana. And what is the serpent here? Serpent is the three avasthas. The five koshas, the three sharirams is the serpent. So I take the serpent, that means I drop the identification in my own mind. It is a cognitive change. I say that everything is Ishvara, and who am I then? I am the Adhishtanam of the entire world. One has to reach these higher levels of intellect. Our normal intellect will only see objects and analyze the world and come to conclusion. That is our normal general living. But when we come to the Veda, you have to wear a different cap. The intellect starts looking inward. That is why it is able to see the divine eye in us. All the seekers, what are we all trying to do? By the study of Veda, I am trying to look inward and reach that divine eye. So when I know that substratum, this ego doesn't rise again and claims the body and its attributes as its own attributes. For example, in dream and sleep state, we are not conscious of our body. And neither are we conscious of the world. The physical world we see in the waking state, we are not conscious in our sleep state. But we take that as a part of our own experience. So similarly, there is another level which the Upanishad is trying to reveal to me. It is lighting up that knowledge in my intellect. And it is trying to reveal that I am that pure consciousness in which there is no world at all. Like it's just a simple experiment. You can even try. It's as if that you're waking up in your sleep state and asking yourself, who am I? What will you say? I am a consciousness factor in which I do not experience the world because the sense organs and the mind are asleep. I am existing as pure Sat, pure Chit. And how do I get this knowledge? How do I get the strength to say this? By renouncing our present way of living, taking up cultured values. Then what happens when I do that? My mind gets prepared. I drop all my negative values. And this is the preparation required for the knowledge to take place, number one. And the second is, it is the preparation after the jnanam is come up. What happens to this intellect? This intellect gets liberated. In Shankaracharya, okay, let me finish this verse first. I'll then explain to you a little bit of Shankaracharya Bhashya. We reach perfection. That perfect state of our existence is what is the ultimate destination of Veda. perfection in living. What is perfection in living? I live as consciousness. I don't live as the mind. Again and again, the mind will trouble us. Again and again, I will observe my mind. I will feel I'm suffering. I'm going through the experiences of sorrow in my life. Again and again, you have to remind yourself that this is a temporary state of the mind. This temporary state of the mind is called as mithya. Mithya doesn't mean it does not exist. It is not non-existence. It means it appears, but it is false. Why do I say it is false? It's exactly like the dream. What Veda ultimately says is only when the mind is active, you are experiencing the world. When your mind is not active, who are you? I am this pure consciousness. If you are able to understand and accept this as the truth, then the study of Veda for you is over. You just have to remind yourself about this truth again and again. I am that consciousness. What will happen to you then? What happens is explained in the 5th mantra of this verse, of this chapter. We'll come to that. You get perfection in life. Philosophy is a view and a way of life. One must live the Vedantic view of life of oneness in the world. Equally powerful mind intellect is the Jnana Chakshu, through which the self is experienced. See, when we get carried away by our emotions, many of us, see, when we are angry, when we are passionate about something, we get carried away. That time the mind is not strong. Mind becomes weak when it is passionate. Thinking about something continuously, mind is weak. When is the mind strong? When the Sakshi is clearly illumining that mind and says, the mind realizes I am not the mind, I am the Sakshi. There is a consciousness in this thought process. That consciousness is me. This is called as Jnana Chakshu. This is the divine eye, perfect eye. This is what Arjuna got in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, I will give you the eye to see the oneness in this entire universe. Jnana Chakshu, I will give it to you. So, what is the entire gist of this verse is that we have to develop our mind to see this truth. A gross mind will see the gross world. A subtle mind will see the subtle truth of Atma or Sakshi. In the journey of the ego towards the spiritual divine self, in that journey, what will give us the strength is only the faith in the Veda. Continuously, when your intellect is throwing out problems, or it is trying to tell you, how can this be? How can this be? Intellect doesn't accept this truth as so easily. But then you have to have that faith. Veda, the Shruti Mata, the mother Shruti, will not teach me something which is which is not good for me. Like a mother will always look for the goodness of the children. She will teach what is good for the children. She will feed what is good for the child. Similarly, the Shruti Mata, the mother Shruti, the Veda, is teaching us how to get rid of this ego I. The whole teaching is how I drop that ego I and be that self. Aham Brahma Asmi is the ultimate truth. Okay, let me go to the next verse because a very important verse and it's a long verse. I need to cover that. I will talk about Shankara Bhashyam a little later. In the Shankara Bhashyam, okay, let me explain to you a little bit. Shankaracharya gives a very beautiful example of a lamp. See, what he says is, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga are like the wick, like the oil, like the container. We all require that to light up the lamp. To light up the lamp, we require the wick, we require the oil, we require the container. But once the lamp is lit, what removes what removes darkness in a room is the flame. Similarly, the flame of knowledge has to be lit by all our practices, values, cultural values, disciplines, and karma yoga, shravanam, mananam. All these are supportive sadhanas. We all have to do that. What happens when we follow this shravanam, mananam, values, disciplines? What happens then? Japa. The mind gets the strength and it lights up. When the mind lights up, that lighted mind is capable of destroying the mula avidya, which is called as the spiritual ignorance. Spiritual ignorance. It is beyond. It is something which I didn't know. That is the job of the Veda mantra. That is the job. The moment the light has come up, then the Upanishad will tell you in just two sentences. This is what you are. Tattvamasi. This lighted lamp, this now that you are lighted, your intellect is lighted, now you see the same world with a different eye. What happens? You see the substratum very clearly and you see the three avasthas coming and going as appearances. Okay, I just digressed a little bit, but it was a very beautiful example given by Shankaracharya. That's why I say read the notes of Shankaracharya on which is the Bhashya, which is the commentary on these verses. It's not easy to write a commentary on these types of verses because they are so complicated. You read it, you won't understand, but then you need the help of Shankaracharya or some other Acharya to explain these verses and the deeper significance behind these verses. Next verse, very important verse in the entire study of Upanishads. If you know this verse well, you know the entire essence of all the 12 Upanishads which we are studying. It is so important. What does this verse say? Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate amritam. Who attains immortality? The one who understands that there is a consciousness principle behind every modification of the mind, be it the waking state, be it the sleep state, be it the dream state, in all the three states. Who attains the immortality? The one who understands the Atman behind the modifications of the mind. He is the one who becomes this, consciousness and claims that this consciousness is me. Once you claim this consciousness as me, it means you have achieved immortality, because that is the only eternal existence, the Sat principle, the Chit principle, the Ananda principle in this universe. Very, very important verse. If you understand this verse, you have understood the whole Veda. And I am not, this is what the people who teach this mantra, they talk like this. The absolute truth is understood as witness of the three states of consciousness. Remember, witness. Many times in Mandukya Upanishad, people don't understand the witness principle clearly. Witness means it is not affected by anything which happens in the realms of waking, dream, and sleep. You stand apart without taking part in the three states. So even in my waking state, I can stand apart. I can say I am the witness consciousness. Claim it as your swarupa, and then lead the life. That is all which the Veda is telling us to do. Veda is trying to teach me what is my nature and how I can claim it to be the truth of the entire universe. And this truth has to be a non-doer, non-enjoyer, akarta abhokta in Sanskrit. So who am I? I am not a karta, I am not a bhokta. I am Chaitanya Atma. The entire Bhagavad Gita is talking about this essence. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna will say, I don't do anything. When he says, I don't do anything, what does he mean? Not as a body or mind who is standing in front of Arjuna, but he is saying it from the consciousness principle. What he taught there is applicable in this Keno Upanishad. Pratibodha viditam. Bodha means knowledge. Pratibodha means what? Before any experience can take place, awareness principle, the consciousness principle is already there. You don't have to go and search for it. It is existing. You can only claim it as your swarupa. What happens when I go to sleep? I go back to my swarupa, which is this awareness consciousness. If I take that as the truth, then I am liberated here and now. While this class is going on, I am liberated because I have understood the knowledge of Veda. Who remembers the waking, dream, and sleep experiences? If there was not a consciousness, Sakshi, illumining those three experiences, there is a non-variable factor. That non-variable factor is what the Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, wants to reveal in this verse. It is the same thing in Mandukya Upanishad, the 7th verse. The teacher there wants to reveal Turiyam. There he calls it Turiyam in Mandukya Upanishad. For those who may have heard about Mandukya, but I'm just telling you, that is the same essence being taught in this verse. Mayyeva sakalam jatam, mayi sarvam pratishtitam, mayi sarvam layam yati. Kaivalya Upanishad, 19th mantra. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma, yo veda nihitam guhayam. Taittiriya Upanishad, 2nd chapter, the very first verse. So, the knower of all the thoughts, of all the states of the mind is this light of consciousness. The knower. This knower is the ultimate truth of the entire universe. It is the ultimate truth of me When I say me means what? The body-mind complex is a temporary state which I experience in the waking state. But there is a truth behind which is the ultimate knower. Mind and sense organs are also knowers, but they are incidental knowers in a particular state. But consciousness is the changeless knower. You should understand the changeless knower and the changing knower. Behind the changing knower is the changeless knower, which is called as Atma. It illumines the birth, existence, and resolution of all the waking states. Whether you are in this body, it will tell you the 3 states of this body. Every body, chapter 13, second verse, Bhagavad Gita, Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. In all the bodies, I am there. What does he mean there? Consciousness. That consciousness which is there uniformly in all the bodies is called as Brahman, is called as Chaitanyam, is called as the reality. One who realizes that I am that changeless, eternal illuminator of all thoughts and all minds, who is he? He's immortal because he's ever there. As consciousness, we are eternal. Remember, claim that, that's all. During the waking state, during our state of our journey towards this light of consciousness, in every step, claim that consciousness as me. There is nothing else which the Veda is teaching us. Identity with the witness and with this witness is the end of ego. End of ego means what? End of change. Death, sorrow, despair, success, failure, pleasure, pain, love, hate, passion. All these are what? They are all changes in the realm of consciousness. In the light of consciousness, I experience different incidences. The secret of knowing the Atman as beyond the known and the unknown is in this mantra. What does this mantra say? It is the self, it is pratibodha. It is the consciousness factor before any experience can take place. And also at the end of all experiences. That is what is called as my Swarupa. This verse is a definition of Brahman. It gives a description, gives a knowledge. Normally, what do words do? In the objective world, we use words. Like we say, okay, here in this is Amarnath. Amarnath is in the Himalayas. First, we get the knowledge of indirect knowledge that there exists something called as Amarnath, or something called as Niagara. Words give us only knowledge, but they don't give us experience. They give introduction to something which exists. Similarly, what happens? Aham Brahmasmi, Brahman is existing. That is what the Veda tell me about the subject. This Brahman is supposed to be the subject in me, the I in me. So words give the knowledge of a fact which is existing. Eyes are used to give experience when that object is in front. But when this object is the subject, it is always there. Because the subject I is always experienced. Words of the Shastras are words of introduction of something which is already experienced by you. This subject is already experienced. It is telling me that that subject is called as Brahman. So don't think Brahman means it's something completely very different. I have to experience it in Samadhi state and all that, or in state of meditation. No. Veda is only telling me the experiencer is consciousness principle. But what is experienced is the three states of the mind: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. In all the three states, Swaprakasha Swatasiddha is this Chaitanyam principle. Ever evident, ever experienced, always experienced. If you ask anybody, are you not there at any time? No. Everybody will say, I am there all the time. Right from birth till date, if anybody asks you the question, are you there all the time? Yeah, of course I'm there all the time. What is that I which is all the time there, which never sleeps, which is always there, which never changes? It is this I, this consciousness, this Sat principle, existence principle, ever experienced consciousness principle. That is my real Swarupam. Let me understand that as my nature and drop the identification that this body is me. This mind is me. The mind is the most turbulent factor in all our experiences. Suddenly it will think about something in the world and then it will go bonkers. You know, it'll get deluded. It'll give you the impression that everything which the mind is thinking is all real. But what Veda says is it is mithya, it is appearance. It seems to be existing, seemingly existing. What is seemingly existing means what? It is mithya. That is what is the introduction of Veda. All our experiences, the Veda says it is true, but it is only vyavaharika satyam. It is not paramarthika satyam. Paramarthika satyam means what? Something which never changes. What is it which never changes in my life? It is this aham, aham, aham consciousness. What is changing? I am dukhi, I am sukhi, I am happy, I am sorrowful. That is changing. So drop that changing mind and claim the light in which this mind is coming and going as the real self. Consciousness is not a part of the body. It is not the product of the body. It is not the property of the body. Body, attributes of the body. For example, the intellect may be dull. Intellect may be very bright. It can pick up so many things of the world. Very beautiful analysis. You know, you work in a banking sector, IT sector, you can solve all problems. Everybody gives you congratulations, well done. But that is all in that field. Only in the transactional field. What is behind that is consciousness. If I know I am that consciousness, I'm liberated. I have moksha here and now. As consciousness, I continue to exist even after the fall of the body, but I can't experience the world because I don't have the medium. For example, in sleep state, I exist. Sleep state, I exist. Same way I exist even when the body falls. That's it. That is what is the meaning of immortality. Eternal. Eternal means what? It's beyond time. What is beyond time? It is my existence in my sleep state. Pure existence. If I know that is my real nature, will I be really bothered so much about all what goes on in the waking? No. So Brahman has to be known as the ever-experienced consciousness, the non-variable factor in all the three states. It is never known through a particular state. Suppose you say, I am the waker. Then you don't know Brahman. Waker is not Brahman. That is what in Chandogya Upanishad, the Prajapati, the creator of the universe, was explaining to the students in Chandogya Upanishad. To two students. One is Virochana, another is the Asuras and the Devas. So basically, Waker is not conscious. Waker is not the truth. Dreamer is not the truth. Yesterday I had a very bad dream. Forget about it. It came, it went, appeared, mithya. I had a very bad day today in my office, in my home. Somebody was shouting at me. Okay, forget about it. Tomorrow there is another day. It came and went. That's all. After 3 years, will you remember this? Today's this? No, forget it. So that is what is the Upanishad teaching me. Any particular experience, we have to drop it. What we have to keep continuously, I am conscious, I'm conscious, I'm conscious. Even when you are not feeling well, I am conscious. I am Atma. I am pure Chaitanya. Hold on to this. Hold on to this. That is the center for peace, security, and happiness. There is no other peace in the world outside, only in your own self. We have to only change the direction. Instead of looking outside through our sense organs, we have to learn to see how to drop the sense organs, how to drop the thoughts in the mind, and remain as consciousness. When I don't experience anything particular in Jagrat, Sushupti, or Swapna, I am conscious. That's it. Because of consciousness alone, we say, I experience something or I don't experience something. In the sleep state, I say I don't experience. But who is the real experiencer? The ultimate experiencer is this Sakshi. Is this pure self. So we have to distinguish in our journey to this spirit, in the journey towards this spiritual divine I, we have to learn to drop the ego I, the mind I, the body I, and hold on to what the Upanishads are teaching us as pratibodham. Pratibodha viditam matam. It is this pratibodham, means it is this consciousness which is eternal, ever evident. Not a specific experience, but a general experience of awareness. This awareness flows out through the mind and through the sense organs, and we experience the world. In Jagrat, this awareness withdraws itself in the dream state and it sees only the thoughts in my mind. This awareness again pulls back all the thoughts into itself and it remains as the self, Atma, when I go to sleep. This Atma is Brahman. This is the equation. The self in me is the self in the universe. This is what is called as Mahavakyam. I'm teaching the Mahavakyam in the Wednesday classes. In Panchadasi, the chapter 5. For those who are interested, you can go through, you can just listen, go. You can ask me for the Panchadasi chapter 5 classes. I can send you the talks. Okay, so I am the consciousness with a temporary body and mind complex. I am not a body with temporary consciousness. This is the difference between a jnani and ajnani. Ajnani will say what? Ignorant person will say consciousness is a part of me only, part of the body only. But what is a jnani saying? Jnani will say, the wise man will say, I am consciousness first, and then the body is coming and going. The body is cut, burnt, or drowned, as said in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. You may, the body may be burnt, but then the consciousness doesn't get burnt. What happens when a fire burns everything in this universe? Can it burn the light, the sunlight? Cannot. Can it burn the space? It cannot. Similarly, nothing in the universe can touch this consciousness, like space cannot be touched by anything in the universe. Space is continuously there. It is there, ever there. Similarly, whatever happens to the body, understand it is Atma or consciousness is the light in which all these are known. Bodha vastu. Pratibodha is before the knowledge. Amritatva prapti is a jnana phalam. So what is a jnana phalam? Jnana phalam means, suppose I get the knowledge. Suppose my flame, that intellect is well lit. What happens then? The lit, illumined flame can remove the ignorance. Similarly, when the Atma Jnanam comes in my intellect, what happens? It removes the Mula Vidya, which is called as Maya. It is called as Prakriti. It is called as something which is ignorance. Ignorance about the self. It is not the ignorance of the world. So lighted lamp alone removes the darkness. Wick and other things are required. But then what removes the darkness? It is the lighted lamp in a room. That removes the darkness. Similarly, in my mind, in my intellect, it is a lighted intellect through the knowledge of the Veda. When the Veda tells me you are beyond the three states and there is a light beyond that three states, that illumines the light of consciousness. And that light removes ignorance. It removes Mula Vidya. Mula Vidya means it is the ignorance about the self. I will never have a doubt in future. Who am I? I will never have a doubt. I may not be able to express it to all my friends and relatives and my son and daughter. But to me, there is no more ignorance. The entire Veda is relevant. The Purva Bhaga, the earlier portion which deals with the rituals and Upasana, they prepare the mind. It gives us the yogyata, jnana yogyata prapti. It is adrishta phalam. It cannot be seen. Yogyata, it gives me the preparedness. But what gives me the Veda anta, the end portion, what does it do? It gives jnanam. It gives jnanam. It gives jnanam means what? That lighted lamp is removing the ignorance. When my ignorance is gone, I will know it. It is drishta phalam. So studying a Veda is not useless. You're not spending unnecessary time here. You are studying something which will help you to realize the true nature of the self and the whole world. When this happens, it is drishta phalam. So remember, drishta phalam, moksha, liberation is a drishta phalam. Drishta phalam means it can be experienced internally by all of us. So that was this beautiful mantra, very, very beautiful mantra. And Shankaracharya writes a very wonderful commentary on this mantra. You will see it in my notes. You will. It's a very deep subject matter. Knowing this mantra itself as the pure consciousness, which I can claim. See, Shankaracharya in his commentaries, when he writes a commentary, it is not that he just simply writes so that you know the word meaning, but he writes it in such a way that he helps you to see the truth. That is the beauty of Shankaracharya's commentary. So all serious students of Vedanta, my suggestion is get hold of Shankaracharya's commentary and go through it, listen to it through some Acharya, and you will be really benefited. Verse number 5, the last verse of chapter 2. Iha ched avedi atha satyam asti, na ched iha vedi mahati vinashti. Bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhira, pretyasman lokan amruta bhavanti. This is the Phalashruti. Phalashruti means what? It tells you what is the benefit I will know, which I will get after getting this knowledge of Brahma Vidya, supreme knowledge of the universe and about myself. It is the end of all human aspirations. You will not know, your desires will be completely fulfilled. Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter, in the Sthita Prajna portion, Lord Krishna says the same thing. He says that all your desire, sarvan, kaman, all kamas, all desires are nullified. What happens? Because you know the truth. If I am the consciousness in which the whole universe is coming and going, do you think I will have desires, small, petty desires? No. If one knows that, then he has fulfillment, the greatest fulfillment in life. That is the Phalashruti mentioned here. And in the next sentence, the Vedas, the Upanishad says, suppose one doesn't know this truth. It says it is the greatest destruction of one's life. Because you have not known the truth about yourself. You may have known hundreds of things of the objects in the world, but those are only temporary. It is a temporary state of the mind. The wise one who sees this Atma in all the beings, in every human being, it is the same consciousness. When you look at another person, is it the body and mind? Is it the body you're seeing? No, drop it. Is it the mind you're seeing it? No, I can't see the mind at all. But it is the consciousness which you see. Yes, I can see the consciousness because I know the consciousness in me. The consciousness in me is the same as the consciousness of the other person. It is the same in the entire universe. The wise seeing this Atman in all the beings becomes immortal. Amritam Prapti. This is the highest one can get in life. Amritam means what? You go beyond time. It is time which gives us the mortality. In time we have birth and we have death. But once you have gone beyond time and birth, what is there? It is immortal. I know my immortal self. This is the ultimate phalam, the benefit of studying the Upanishads. Any Upanishads you study, it is this truth. It is the same truth explained in Taittiriya Upanishad, same truth explained in Katha Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. We'll be seeing these Upanishads very soon. So previously, I am body with consciousness. Now I am consciousness in the body. Here and now. I am consciousness in all the bodies. See, these are the three different expressions. And whenever the first two is the ignorant state. The last one is the wise person's expression. I'm body with consciousness. Everybody says this. You don't need to come to study Veda. After a little bit of Bhagavad Gita study, Tattvabodha and all that, you know that there is something called as consciousness. Then you start believing, yes, I am the consciousness in this body only. But the real truth is, I realize this consciousness in me is the consciousness in the entire Jagat. Then only I can say, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Okay? There is one undivided light in divided objects. We all know that. There is one light in which I see different objects in my room. Similarly, there is one undivided Atma, the light of consciousness, in which all the experiences are going and coming. The divisions belong to the bodies. They do not belong to the consciousness, which is Akhanda Chaitanya. I and you are different because we are looking at our body. But when we look at the consciousness, we'll say we are all one. All these notes which I have prepared for these verses are beautiful notes. Study them, revise them. After you have gone through these notes, you have understood these notes well, then you have to study the Bhashyam notes. Bhashyam notes are a higher level. Is body an integral part of me or incidental media I use? If you do not know Veda, you will say it is me. It is an integral part of me. But if you have studied Keno Upanishad, Pratibodha Viditam Matam, you will say it is an incidental medium of transactions as per the prarabdha of the body. If body is not an integral part of me, then what is it? Body is a dress. And who am I? I am the consciousness who am wearing this dress and removing the dress in the sleep state. When the body wears out completely, again, as per the prarabdha karma of that individual jiva, the jiva takes another body. But now I have realized I am not a jiva. I am the Paramatma Swarupam, Chaitanya Swarupam, Atma Swarupam, Brahma. So once I give up the abhimana of the body and see the body objectively, what happens to me then? Asman Lokan Pretyaha. It's very similar to the Vairagya Shatkam. In Vairagya Shatkam, Shankaracharya writes, I am not the buddhi, I am not the body, I am not the thoughts, I am not the passion, I am not anything to do with the body or mind. Who am I? I am the Satchidananda Swarupam. Shivoham, Shivoham. Same thing here, repeated in the fifth mantra. It is said, Asman Lokan means what? At the time of death, a jiva will call all the 5 elements. What is his body? Body is only Panchabhutas. You don't have to wait till death of the body. You can even do it today. What you can do? You can say the same thing which the jiva is now saying. What is it saying? Oh Lord, you have given me this gift of this body. And it is a body has been given to me as a temporary gift by you. I have used this gift very well. I have come to you. I have known you, the giver of this body, as pure consciousness. I had borrowed this stuff because of grace. Your grace only helped me to get this body. With your help, I was able to gain the knowledge of Atma. To know I am consciousness, I need a body to study, to do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. I need a body, I need an instrument. I, the jiva, who was in so many different bodies, in so many different births, because of some good fortune, I found the Veda. I have now understood the Veda. I have learned to say Aham Brahmasmi through the teaching of Keno Upanishad. I am fulfilled in life, totally fulfilled, because there is nothing beyond this consciousness. Now is the time to return the body with thanks to the 5 elements. Even with a small prayer, you say, I return the body to you, O Lord, because I am detached from the body. And these people are called as Asmat Loka Pretyaha. If you are able to say this internal prayer with full meaning and return it to the source, who is the Lord, and say, I know my true nature as pure Chaitanyam. I am fulfilled in life. I have no more abhimana with the body, no attachment, no identification in the body as what? Self. You will be attached to the body tomorrow morning. When you wake up tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you will be attached to the body because that is a law of karma. It is a law of prarabdha. In this knowledge, a special light has been lit in my intellect. That is called as Jivan Mukti. Amrita, there are three benefits. One is Amritatva Prapti, Jivan Mukti, and Videha Mukti. These are the three benefits of learning the Upanishads. In all the Upanishads, this is taught. So giving up the Abhimana, the identification only, is called as Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means what? While living, you are free. Because you have understood consciousness. You continue to live the prarabdha till it is exhausted. Prarabdha belongs to the body, not to you. Duration of the body is determined by prarabdha oil. People think that they have control over their death and birth. No, it's impossible. It is the Lord who is the controller. Sarvadharman paritrajya mamekam sharanam braja. Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 66 verse. It says, surrender to that Lord. Who is the internal controller? There is an internal controller. That controller, once you have understood that controllers is different than this body, you surrender that body to that controller and say to yourself, thank you, O Lord, giving me this knowledge. I am fulfilled in life. What does this mean? Does Chaitanyam in this body has learned to merge with the Chaitanyam in the entire cosmos. Exactly like how the pot space merges with the total space when the pot is broken. So similarly, when the body is no more there, that consciousness which realized itself to be Brahman, when the pot was there, the wall was there, the same consciousness continues hereafter. That is called as immortal Brahman. Amritatva Praptihi. Very beautiful, very divine. This is the most divine thing which can happen to an individual. I have known my true self. Once you do that, there is no end. The pot's space was a name given to me when the body was there. As long as the body is there, I am a Jivatma. But see, a normal Jivatma is a Ajnani, ignorant. He is not a Jivan Mukta. He is bound. He is Baddha. He is bound. But with the knowledge of Keno Upanishad or Kaivalya Upanishad, what happens? That Jivaha, individuality is gone. When the individuality is gone and consciousness is claimed as the self, then one gets Jivan Mukti. When the body is gone, the same Jiva gets Videha Mukti. After Videha Mukti, there's no more Mukti. It is finally, it becomes one with the entire substratum. Swami Chinmayananda Gurudev says, renounce the ego and be the God here and now. I mean, he gives this in all Bhagavad Gita talks. Swami Chinmayananda always says, give up the ego, give up the ego. And this Upanishad teaches me how I can give up the ego. And how can you realize that you are that eternal principle here and now? By discrimination, we learn to see one truth that lies self-evident in every name and form in all the three avastha at all times. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. Having seen face to face, we get ourselves merged into that higher divine principle. That is what is called as seeing God, knowing God, being God. Being God is the ultimate. Pretyasman lokan amrita bhavanti. Having discovered the truth principle, having left this world, one becomes immortal. Left this world means what? Left the world with an ego sense. No more ego. I'm still surviving as a pure consciousness. I can enjoy whatever I want in life. So self-realization is here and now. And with this, we have come to the end of the chapter, second chapter. What we have seen in the second chapter is 5 verses. In 5 minutes, I'll give you the short summary. Verse number 1, it talked about the definition of Brahman. Again, it is not known or unknown entity, because known and unknown is in the objective realm. That is the definition of Brahman. It is neither known nor unknown, but it is ever the subject. It is the general existence which we call it as Brahman. You can call it by any name. You can call it anything, but it is aham. Whenever you say aham, you say earlier, before the Upanishadic knowledge, aham meant the body. Aham meant the mind. It is the ego which is the wearer, the coat which I am wearing. I realize I'm different than the coat of the body and mind. The body and mind is a conditioned Atma, but I am not conditioned. I am limitless Atma. With this knowledge of Brahman, I end the ego and I realize the limitless truth. Ego is a reflected I. Original I is limitless consciousness. I, who took to be a limited jiva with a limited body and mind, I realize aham brahmasmi, I am the limitless consciousness. Verse number 2 said, Brahma is not the known or unknown. What comprehends both known and unknown is this light of consciousness or Brahma. So, known and unknown is a part of the Vyavaharika Jagat. The light which illumines the known and the unknown, in unknown means something which I don't know today, it will be known later through my sense organs. But what illumines the known and unknown, either today or tomorrow, is this light of consciousness. That is the second verse. The third verse is unknown to the wise, known to the ignorant people. Brahman is knower consciousness. It is the knowledge principle. It is the only cure for ego I, for fear, bhayam. People don't know how to get rid of fear in life. It is the most basic attribute of the human mind. Natural attribute. Fear of death. Very natural. Even at 90, 84, 86, there will be some fear. But who has gone through the Keno Upanishad will have no fear. Why? Because fear is a thought in the mind. It comes and goes. In the waking state, it comes. In the dream state, it goes away. In the sleep state, it's gone. Again, you get in the morning, tomorrow, again the fear is there. That fear thought will not come if you know I am not the thought. I'm the light in which the thoughts are coming and going. As long as you take the 3 states or the Jagat world as reality, you will be suffering from ego I. Very important. This is where Satyam and Mithya, how to hold on to Satyam, how to drop the Mithya. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This every seeker has to do. When you have known the snake as Mithya, nothing of the snake will remain. Only the rope is known. When you know only the Brahman exists alone, Brahman alone exists, Brahma eva Satyam, what happens to the Mithya states? Gone. Again, Shankaracharya brings out this point very beautifully in his Bhashya. He says, not a single element of the rope snake is left behind when you know the Satya rope. When you know the Satya Brahman, the Satya Sakshi, not even an iota of the three states is left behind. Satyam is always Satyam, Paramartika Satyam, immortal self. When Sakshi is understood, Jivatvam drops by itself. The fourth verse, it says it's the truth of all the three states. This consciousness is the truth of all the three states. It is the changeless illuminator of all the thoughts of the mind in all the states. Everything is known by the self. The self is self-evident. There is no other light required for the self. That ever-evident self is me. It is an independent entity. It is not a particular experience which is used, which comes about with the help of an intellect, but it is a bed of all experiences for all the people at all times, whether it is today or in the past or in the future. Past, future is all with reference to their body and mind. With reference to Atma, there is no past, there is no future, it is always present. Yes, now, here and now, all the time. It's now and now and now. It's all the time now. Eckhart Tolle is giving us the power of now. It is the power of this consciousness. Because of this power of consciousness, we say, I don't experience anything in sleep. Consciousness is eternal. It is Maya, mind, which is responsible for the three states of experiences. One gets moksha with this knowledge of Brahman. How to get moksha? What is moksha? All this is beautifully explained in Keno Upanishad. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 are the brilliant chapters of any Upanishadic study, which anybody can do. Very brilliant chapters. One gets moksha with the knowledge of Brahman. Jnanat eva kaivalya. Only through jnanam you can get moksha. Karma and upasana, karma yoga, the rituals, upasana, meditations, japa, all these are supportive sadhanas for lighting up the lamp. What removes the darkness is the lamp, the lighted lamp, the flame. Similarly, for knowledge to take place, all this study is required. Once the knowledge comes up, it will illumine that truth to your intellect forever. You will never have a doubt. That's what says the fifth mantra, Phalashruti. Know Brahman, you become immortal. Don't know Brahman, you are reborn into this world again to go through these experiences of joy and sorrow, and then you come back to study of Veda. I am the undivided consciousness in all the bodies. The body, mind is not an integral part of me. I, the consciousness, am the wearer of this body and mind. Every day in the morning, you see this body again. Remember, it is I am bearing this body and mind for certain experiences for the day. Again, I take out this body and mind. I keep it aside. I go back to my real true self. We thank the five elements and leave the body and mind to the Lord. the controller of prarabdha karma, controller of the entire realm of three experiences, waking, dream, and sleep. With this, I close today's session. Chapter 2 is over. Next week, I will start with chapter 3. It's a story. It's a story, and chapter 4 is Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, primarily the focus to teach 4 types of meditations. 4th chapter. But 3rd chapter is an interesting story. We'll look at the story next week. Thank you. And we'll see in the next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachare Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. There are no questions on the chat box. Shanmugam will unmute everybody. In case you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
Sekharji, this is Manikandan.
Yeah, Manikandan.
Thank you, Sekharji, for the very good explanation. You mentioned that in every experience, consciousness and ego is present.
Yes.
And we need to continuously discriminate between the ego and the consciousness, and be aware that we are the consciousness.
Yes.
So, what are the techniques? What are the methods we can do this discrimination in every experience? How we can identify ourselves that we are not the body and the mind, of course, with the knowledge of the nature.
Yeah,
is there
good.
any?
Good. Very good question. See, when we are dealing in life, in the Vyavahara, in that field of transactions, we go through some good times. So whenever things are going on well, you don't try to take that consciousness and start talking about consciousness. So let the life go. Let the life go on. Let the life go on as normal. You have experiences with your children, in your office, in your family, in your society, everywhere. Let the life go on. When do you use this knowledge? You use this knowledge when you're suffering. Suffering is something, when you are suffering means what? Suppose you become dejected or disappointed or frustrated for something, whether it is small petty thing that I didn't get a bus today to go to office, or I missed my car, I missed my key at home, or I didn't cook well, or somebody scolded me. These are all small incidences. Whenever these incidents trouble you, at that time, wake up to this knowledge. How do I wake up? Remember, see, there are two techniques. One is continuously keep on studying. Let the thought of consciousness come to you in different forms whenever you study on a Saturday class or a Wednesday class. Let it continue. That is one way of remembering the teaching all the time. But what happens is, whenever you are frustrated in your transactional life, this thought of consciousness will automatically come. If you are in the field of study, what happens is, in your background, when a famous singer, M.S. Subbulakshmi or somebody is singing on the stage, when at the height of singing also, that singer knows the shruti at the back. The tambura at the back is known to her, even when at the height. So similarly, when you are experiencing things in life, If there are disappointments in life, at that time, this knowledge will come to you. It is an automatic process. You don't have to do anything. Suppose you meet with some very bad experiences in life, death of somebody, then what happens is this knowledge will strike you automatically. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा न भविता न भूयः अजो नित्यं शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते न हन्यमाने शरीरे. All these verses will come to you. When you get this 20th verse of the chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, immediately you'll remember, oh my God, why am I worried about somebody passing away? Many people come to me, especially our seekers who are listening to these talks. Many people come to me and talk to me personally and tell me I'm having this problem, this problem, this problem. So at that time, they also tell me that this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita or Upanishad you have taught me has helped me. He's helping me. And 99% of the people, they tell me, it has really helped me to come out of the situation I am free. It will trouble you. It will trouble you a little bit, but it will not make a huge impact on you when you have this knowledge. And for some people who have got the fear of death, when they get this knowledge, their fear is gone. It is a medicine for fear. It is a medicine for sorrow. As said to Arjuna in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to give you that medicine, Lord Krishna said. And then in 18th chapter, he said, I have understood whatever you have said. All my troubles is gone. So the only medicine is remember this teaching every time as much as possible. The best way, if you're asking me a technique, the best technique, which I always repeated, is when you get up in the morning, the first thing you remember is, I am Atma. Remember this truth. As soon as you get up in the morning, just hold your hands together and say, I am Atma, pure consciousness. That's all. Let this, then just for a split second, it makes a huge difference. Say that and start your day. You will find that you are so peaceful throughout the day. It helps. These are small steps. Or similarly, when you go back to sleep. See, when you go to sleep, what happens is you don't know how to sleep. You just start going around your thoughts, mind thoughts. You have closed your eyes, but your mind is still running. At that time, bring a thought. I am Atma. If you make these two practices, morning or night or any or both, if possible, it will take care of the remembrance of Atma. But the study of Upanishads through a bhashyam will help you to go very deep. And that study is something which will really light up that intellect finally. See, all we are talking at this so far is at the level of our vyavahara, what I can do. But the final light is the light of Upanishads. It happens when you go through these verses like Pratibodha Viditam. This verse is something you have to meditate. Meditate means what? Understand the meaning thoroughly. And going through Shankaracharya's Bhashyam on this verse, I would like every one of you to go through that notes which I have written. I think I have, for this particular verse, I'm still writing. It is still not printed, it's still not ready to be circulated, but it will come. In the next 1 month, it will come. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, Hi, sir. I'm attending the class
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah, Vinay.
Yeah, but I've gone through some of the videos, but not fully yet, but I've started now.
Okay.
I'm literally confused about one thing, drawn to this class, like
Yeah.
am I a seeker of Atman or I just want to study scriptures? I don't know why I've been drawn here. Literally,
Okay. It's a good question. See, what happens is all of us, we come to these scriptures like this only, exactly like you. Exactly like you, we don't know why we come to the scriptures, why suddenly I come to the scriptures. I really don't know anything about Atman and Brahman and all that. I didn't know. You know, when I started 30 years ago, 40 years ago, exactly the same thing what you're telling me, I was telling myself. I said, what is this? You know, after 4 or 5 years, or even after 10 years, you ask this question, how come I came into this? See, this is something called as prarabdha karma. How we come into this knowledge, nobody knows. There is a law of universe. The law of universe brings you to this knowledge. What is this knowledge is a separate question. But what makes you come here to this knowledge is, it is a law. It is a law of the human body and the mind and the world. The law puts people together as siblings, as parents and children. The law puts together the infrastructure for the study, for people to come together. So don't ask the question, why I came here, but only thing what you do is you ask the question, I am in good hands, have full faith in your study. You have come into good hands, you come into the good circle of people with whom you can exchange your ideas and so on. Basically, continue, start reading, listening more and more. The more you read, the more you continue, you will find slowly the meaning starts coming to you. If you ask anybody in this class today, you'll find that they all came like you and me. You know, we all come together and then we suddenly find that some law puts us all together, and then there is some experience of some knowledge takes place. And that again, knowledge gives us some benefits in life. Okay, so it's good to see you, Vinay. Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else has any other question?
So if nobody has, I had one.
Okay, go ahead.
Like just like everywhere, like curriculum is organized or anything is specified, right? When we study, like, okay, we need to be LKG, UKG, and degree and all this. Is there something defined like this? Okay, you need to study these Upanishads, all those things.
Have you written to me by email to the Vedanta students? Have you written to us by email, or you would just come through somebody known person or something like that?
No, I registered through the website
Yeah.
that Vedanta students, and then I
Okay.
got it in WhatsApp.
Okay. Have you received the first introduction letter of Vedanta students?
I didn't see that yet.
Okay. Please, you write to Vedanta students tonight and say that I would like to learn more about these classes, and I would like to listen on a very structured way. We will send you the introduction letter. The introduction letter will give you the entire the study, the methodology of the study. It will give you all the videos connected with this study. It will also tell you first do this, and then you can do this. So for newcomers, the best thing is you come to the class, but then try to learn, try to go through the Tattvabodha videos at your own time. There are 5 videos of Tattvabodha. Similarly, there is Bhagavad Gita also. right now, the broad structure of the entire study, spiritual study is, first you study the introductory books like Tattvabodha, Atmabodha.
Yeah.
Then you study Bhagavad Gita. After you study the Bhagavad Gita, you come to Upanishads. But if you have come to Upanishads and you're attracted by Upanishads, continue the Upanishads because it will keep you going. And whenever you have free time, you study the Tattvabodha and Bhagavad Gita on your own time.
Yeah.
Even if it takes 2 years, doesn't matter. But continue the classes because this will keep you glued to the knowledge. So Upanishads is the third level. After Upanishads, you do some other texts which are advanced texts like Panchadasi, like Vichara Sagara, which is on a Wednesday class. So this is the broad structure. You will get the full structure in the website. In my website, there is a video giving the whole presentation of the entire website. Plus, it will also tell you what is the structure of study.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, try to find it if I am
Yeah,
not.
if you can't, just write to Vedanta students. I will send it to you again.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else has a question? Yeah, Deepak?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what was said is that there are 3 stages. The first stage is that Jiva, body which has consciousness. The second stage is, which you said, was that consciousness in which body appears. And third stage is I am this same consciousness in all the bodies.
Correct. These are the 3 levels. These are the 3 stages of a seeker.
There's 3 stages of seeker.
Yes.
In the first stage, Jiva, it is the I, the subjective I, that makes the error.
Correct. It makes the error. That's correct.
In the second stage, second level, body appears in consciousness. It is still this mind that is rationalizing this thing, that there is this all-pervading Atman or consciousness, and there is an error that what I'm trying to say is that it's still a very rational and philosophical understanding in the second phase also.
Yes, there is the second stage is also a stage with error where your focus is only on this body. You don't look at every body. You only say that consciousness is there in this body. That's all. So you have not understood that the self in me is a self in all. That is what will give you moksha.
Yeah. But the second level, the error is still being made.
That's correct.
That the body exists.
Yes.
But at some point in time, this error is only that I am the error is the superimposition.
Yes.
So that error will eventually go by an awareness.
Correct.
Body doesn't go. Body will go in its own karmic.
Correct. That's right.
Own time.
Yes.
But the understanding of this as an awareness will go.
Yes.
When I recognize that it is the same consciousness in all the body.
Correct. That's right. And
that's
it is
the time. So
yes, and it is the invariable consciousness. You see, in the third stage, the jiva says that I am always in conscious state. Whether it is in, I am always in the conscious state. It is the mind which is waking up and giving me some experiences. So there is a distance created between me, the consciousness, and the body and the mind. In the last stage, it's a very, very high stage.
So will it be right to say that it is in the screen of consciousness, the mind plays the movie and experiences the world of uniform?
That's right. Yes. Perfect.
And the movie starts, and in the waking state says the movie is on. In the dream state, it's in a different form. And in the sleeping state, you shut the camera.
Correct.
But something of that sort. I'm just trying to
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's the way that's the way that the student always understands that. But the serial continues till the body is there. No, serial 1, serial 2, serial 3. You see the same background people. You see the same people in the office, in this world, in Delhi. You are interacting with the same people. So it is a serial. It is just a serial. It keeps on going. Automatically, this is happening. People think that they are doing everything. That is the error. See, the error is I am doing all this thing is the error. That is still in the first stage. Body is doing, I am the body. Correcting that error is I am the consciousness. Till you have corrected that error in your own mind, you will still be a seeker. You will still keep on seeking.
And sorry, just one more point, just that the consciousness is the screen on which this experience takes place. This all experience is taking place like a movie, and it is through consciousness only that the two Shakti or Maya, Viksheksha Shakti, and the projecting power and the wailing power.
Yeah.
The wailing power gives the wrong impression that this movie that is taking place is the reality when it's not.
Correct.
And the Vikshepa Shakti is that this that it projects this world of name and form.
Correct.
So basically everything emanates from there and subsides in that.
That's correct. You see that your mind has to get soaked in that knowledge that everything is rising from consciousness and it is resolving in consciousness. Again, it rises in consciousness. Again, it resolves in consciousness. You have to really believe and have full faith in that. The moment you have 100% faith and you experience that aspect of consciousness, you're free. Brilliant. You're free because you see, that is the beauty of this verse, fourth verse of chapter 2. It is as powerful as the 20th verse of Kaivalya Upanishad, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam. In me alone, everything is coming. Here in this verse, it says Pratibodha Viditam. Every experience is possible only in the light of consciousness. What is changing is prarabdha. You know, my son went here. My son had a very, he had a very good experience. He got married, he got kids, and he's very happy. These are all prarabdha. But I am ever there, always there as consciousness. I am always there as consciousness. Let this thought be going on at the back of your mind. That is what is called as moksha. Getting caught up in the world and suffering and saying, I'm suffering, I'm suffering, I'm suffering, is being bound. That is the difference between being bound and being liberated. Knowledge helps you to come out of that stressful mind. The beauty of this knowledge is it helps you to come out of all stresses of the human mind. It's a very powerful medicine. You see, all people who come to these type of classes, they say we are very happy. Okay, we still have struggles in life, but that is not bothering us. So, in short, your understanding of the 3 phases is correct. Okay, good. Very good, very good.
Thank you.
Okay.
One question, Shegarji.
Yeah, Venkatesh, go ahead.
See, in a way, with a lot of these ideas and classes, it is logically able to realize or understand that I am consciousness in this body, and it's not body and in where consciousness is there. I am actually the consciousness in the body. But is there a similar logical way to understand it is only one consciousness that is there in everybody. Because I am consciousness in this body is in a way simpler to understand.
It's easy to
because,
understand.
When I am waking up in the morning, I know that I was asleep. There is a logical way of understanding it. But is there a logical way of understanding that it is the same consciousness in all the bodies?
Okay, there are two answers to a question. One answer is there is no logical way, there is only Shruti. Only you have to depend on the statements made in Upanishads or in Bhagavad Gita. It says that, in chapter 13, the 3rd verse, it says that the same consciousness is there in all the bodies. It's a direct Shruti proof. 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd verse and the 3rd verse. These are very important for your question. The next thing is, can there be a logic to prove the same? Can logic help me to say that the consciousness in me is the consciousness in the entire world? Is the consciousness in all the body? Is there a logic? This logic, it exists in the Upanishads. The Upanishads have a very, very clear logical way to explain to us this consciousness is the same. It is the same in everybody, and it is only one consciousness. This aspect is brought out in the Upanishads in the Mahavakya portion. Whenever you have Mahavakyams like Tattvamasi, like I am Atma Brahma, like in every Upanishad, there are verses which says, this Atma is Brahman. The self in me is the self in all. And in those portions, Shankaracharya's commentary very logically explains this truth. That this consciousness in me, see, the moment you have understood that I am the consciousness, I'm not the body. Suppose you have understood it. Now, all human beings are the same Panchabhutas. The difference between another person and you is only the only difference is you have gone through the Veda, you have understood the Veda telling you that there is consciousness in the body and you are that consciousness. It is the same way that the other person is not aware. See, ignorant person like all other people in the society, they don't know about consciousness, but you know that consciousness is the principle in which your 3 states are coming and going. If this is true of your body, it is true of other bodies also. Only thing is they are ignorant, but you are ignorant, you are knowledgeable. So you can infer that it is one consciousness in the others also. It is also giving, see, the others are also experiencing the 3 states. See, you may be wakeful, you may be in the waking state, other fellow may be in sleep state. Their body, mind is also working in the same logic as your body and mind. So to answer your question, first of all, the answer is you take the help of the Shruti and accept it as a fact. That consciousness is one and it is the same in all the bodies. You take it as a fact. But if you want to, if your intellect is saying, yes, there should be some logic to say this, logic exists, but you have to go through the Shruti logic. The Shruti logic means what? It will give you a step-by-step process of understanding this truth that consciousness is the same in all. There is a process. When you go through the 12 Upanishads, there are portions which will deal with your problem. And you have to go through those portions, and those portions are called as Mahavakya portions. When you attend the Wednesday class, I'm taking the Wednesday class where all these Mahavakyas are taken, or you can get the videos in the website. It is the Panchadasi chapter 5. In chapter 5, there are 8 verses. 2 verses are taken up for each Mahavakya. Panchadasi is a very advanced text written by a very great Acharya, teacher of Vedanta. And he takes 2 verses for each of these 4 Mahavakyas. You will find that my videos and my notes are very good on this. You please study that. You will get answer to your logical way of understanding, because unless and until the intellect uses the Shruti's logic, the intellect will always ask a question. It is very natural. The intellect will always ask the question, how is it possible? How is this possible? How is this possible that there is one consciousness in which the entire whole universe is coming and going? How? Because it's a mind-boggling fact which the Shruti is revealing. And the Shruti says, you can realize it. You take it. You just come to me and you go through this study. Properly you study. Study with full attention and say, yes, I will study. I will get to the truth of this knowledge. Many seekers have found this. And they have come back to me and said, yes, I agree now. 100%. Many people have studied. I've been teaching. I've been in this field for, say, about 30, 40 years. So I've come across many people who didn't have that full firmness in the knowledge. But as they study regularly, their firmness in the knowledge, their faith in the knowledge grows, because it is their own personal experience. Whatever the Shruti is saying, if it is my personal experience that there is something immortal in this world, and that immortal self is to be realized by me, is the ultimate truth, is the ultimate destination. And it is the ultimate happiness and fulfillment of a human being. That is what the Veda describes this teaching as. Okay, so good. I'm glad you brought out this question. It's very useful to others also, and keep it continuing. Keep the seeking continue in your life. It will be very, very useful to you.
Thank you, Mr. Venkateswaran. I think a lot of classes has taken to this level of I am consciousness in the body. So
yes,
not many more classes.
That's correct. You're right. That's correct. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else has a question? Okay. If there are no questions, we'll continue next week. It's a very beautiful session next week. It's a story, but you'll find it interesting. It's and then we will go the second and the third and the fourth chapter. With that,
sir.
Yeah, Krishna.
Yeah, I got one query about Vichara Sagara. You said that one of the days you were talking about Vichara Sagara. When is it?
Oh, Vichara Sagara. No, I'm not talking of, I don't give talks on Vichara Sagara. I have given some talks on Vichara Sagara. I'm giving talks on Panchadasi on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm part of that. I'm part of that.
You are part of that group, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Vichara Sagara is a future project. It is not something which it's a very, very advanced text. Vichara Sagara is a very profound, advanced text. My suggestion to you is, if you are really keen, start the study with my notes on Vichara Sagara. It's available in the website. If you don't get it, you write to me, I will send you the notes. And you can
Sure,
read
sure.
it. You can read it. I will give you the full blast. I will give you all the notes which I have. I'll give you all the other notes which are given by others also. So that if you do the study properly, if you really study, it's a very big text. It will take you at least 5 years to finish it, minimum 5 years. But
Thank you so much, sir, for
okay.
whatever you are doing. It is wonderful, and I enjoy every bit of
thank
your
you.
class.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, anybody else has a question? Okay, so we'll catch up next week and we'll see how it goes. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste.
Namaste.